Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about Module 4, which is Misinformation Online. So let's have a look at the course, at the assignment. So this one, as I said, it's called Misinformation Online. And so the point of this is to learn about and test a few verification techniques on how to discern or debunk misinformation, and also for you to learn how to use a new teaching tool. So there's rather different and almost unrelated tools or learning outcomes in a way, but I think whatever you're doing, you need to be able to use these tools to do it. So I think it's an interesting combination. So there's a couple of activities for you to do first. One is to watch this video on Break the Fake. It has some activities for you to follow in through. There's content and instructions on how you can or how anyone can verify and check information that they've determined online. So you can watch that and practice that, and it's something good to do with your students. I guess it's sort of junior high or high school level language and so forth, but you may be able to use that with your students or at least interpret it for them. There's also another interesting article here on how photos became a weapon in Stalin's Great Purge. It's quite intriguing, although this did happen obviously 80 or 90 years ago, almost 100 years ago now. There's so many recent, very current examples of this, especially with our neighbors to the south, but I'm sure you're aware of all of that as well. So what you're going to do, just before I move on, I just wanted to point out, this is really to help us analyze or help our students analyze the information we get through various media sources. But it's not limited to that. It could come from, if you think about the amount of online scams or email scams that we're subject to all the time. I personally get emails all the time. I'm sure we all do, with scams, and some are more obvious, some are not that obvious. And I know so many people that have gotten caught up in some kind of scam. And so it's not only just media and news, but also misinformation in terms of being scammed. So I think there's a side element there that you may want to focus on as well, depending on your context or level of your students and so forth. So what you're going to do is use these techniques that you learned from the Break the Fake workshop. You're going to pick a story that's relevant to you, to your context, to your students. You need to talk about it. You need to then talk about, how did you determine the validity of that story? Was it true or not true? I mean, you don't have to pick a story that is false. You could pick one that's perhaps very odd or unusual, but yet still true. What strategies could social media use to stop users from spreading these fake news? And more importantly, what can you do to help or support others to critically question and evaluate online news? And I think that's where the idea of all of these different types of scams come in as well. Like, how could we support our neighbors and peers and family to not get caught up in one of these types of scams? So the other half of the assignment is to then use a particular tool to design your learning object. So you're going to do a comic, and so it does down below here, there's a few different types of software that you could use to design that. I've actually seen people just hand draw it and take pictures, so there's a variety of ways you could do that. And I'm happy to entertain any emails should you have any questions about appropriate ways to do this. You're then going to post this to the discussion board, and of course, comment on at least 2 of your peers' posts. And so just on that note, I've been commenting on a lot of your feedback to really ideally read more widely. I mean, a lot of the learning at least for me, comes from seeing what our peers and classmates think about this work and the answers that they provide. So you're doing your own work in response to these questions, but in this course, there's 40 students, so there's 39 other people answering the same question as you. So 39 different perspectives on the same question, all of which are quite insightful and very intriguing. So I really encourage you to read more widely. And I also, again, encourage you to ask questions. Those questions are useful for you, but really useful for your peers. When someone asks me a question, it really makes me think about my own answers and about my own understanding of the topic. So I do like this assignment. I think it's very intriguing. It's very practical. And if you think about the idea of how many scams are being perpetrated online, there's a real social element to it. It's obviously understanding and discerning what's true in the news or what's biased in the news is also very important. But sometimes that's a little bit more ethereal or a little bit more removed from our own personal experience. Anyways, I'll leave that to you to pick the actual focus, and I'll post this up. Thank you.